Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is your again from Chayatsuji Kimono. It's been several years. I know I've told, I don't know, it must be at least 5 years at this point, that I didn't feel comfortable making a Hikizuri Kitsuke video, or actually how to put it on, because it is such an advanced level kind of Kitsuke that I really don't recommend to anyone unless they have a serious, not only theoretical knowledge, but also practical knowledge of Kitsuke in general. It's not something that anyone should be doing for the very first Kitsuke. So I've been putting it off for, like I said, several years, but I'm finally caving. I'm finally making it. This video is long. It actually died out my battery when I was, I think, with my Obiag at some point. It just died on me because it was taking so long. But yeah, it's finally happening. You'll be getting to see how I put it on. There is another video that I did. I was living in this place, so, and I think it was 2017. But that one was kind of far away because I wanted to show my whole body, so to speak, whereas this video will be mostly my torso, as I already have a video on how to create a nice hemline. So yeah, kind of, it's the same, but in a way they're different. But yeah, I was showing you the items you need. Do remember that this is the way I do it. Some things I've adapted to my needs. For example, I use 2 irishin, sometimes I use 3, I use 2 obita, like those kind of things. You decide for yourself what you want, your padding, what you wear underneath. I'll leave that up to you, as long as it's not visible in the back. Mine isn't at the moment. During the tutorial it actually did stick out, my tank top. So some things, yeah, those need to stick with tradition, so to speak, but other things you can totally adapt to yourself. Also, I do want to mention the juban that you wear. Please do use one that is actually suitable for a hikizuri. I have my han juban that has just the hada juban sleeves. It actually rips at least that much in because I used so much for hikikitsuke before I didn't have the actual hiki juban that I bought 2 years ago, I think so. But yeah, other than that, let's go. So in terms of what you will need, yeah, I have my padding. Now, depending on what your body shape is and what you actually prefer, this may be different. This is all that I use. Padding belt that goes around my waist, and just a normal handkerchief that I pop just in front of my breasts, so that the color won't get stuck between them, kind of distorting the color shape. Yeah, a whole bunch of himo. Your ordinary 3 may not be enough, so prepare to have at least 4 or 5 at hand. Of course, your average pair of tabi. Irishin, I got 2 here. I actually prefer 3 rather than 2 for an actual sturdy color shape. Again, it depends on you, what you want and what you like. Got a Korean belt here for my juban colors. Again, personal, I prefer it. You may not. It's up to you whether you want to use it or not. Got my datajime here. Yes, I actually use 3 of them, all of them. May sound a little bit excessive, but if your hiki weighs several kilos, you want them, trust me. Got my obit here, again 2, just because I prefer it. You don't need to, use 2 if you don't want to. Normal obi makura. This is actually the momi that I use. It's similar to shikogi obi. I think that's how you pronounce it, and it's the red fabric that you see popping from underneath the obi. this is just regular, I think it's jersey fabric that I picked up at the second hand shop that I was working like in 2014. It was like an off-cut fabric, and I just sewed it, I think, in half. Let's see, where is it? Ah, there we go. Sewed in half. It's about, till the edges are curled over a little bit. I think it's about 15 centimeters wide. You can easily make it at home. Like the real ones, yes, they're made out of silk, but this is just plain simple red fabric that you could buy at any fabric store. Over here, this is the obi that I'll be wearing with it. Obiage and obijima. Of course, my trusted obi clip. And this is the actual juban. Skirt part, and then the upper part. And last but not least, the actual Hikizuri itself. So yeah, if you want to go out, you of course you need a pair of Heda or Zori, but as I'm just in my own apartment, won't be needing it today, but do keep in mind if you want to go outside. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Before starting actually putting on the juban, I have my tank top and leggings and my pair of tabi on already. Now, I prefer to use a pair of leggings and a tank top. Usually you would wear a special hada juban and susohiki for hikizuri underneath. But given I don't really like wearing those, I prefer to stick to my tank top and my leggings instead. So depending on how you use your padding, you want to put it on now or like I do after I put the juban skirt on. It really depends on what you actually prefer. Generally it's put on after, but because my bedding pad kind of disagrees with me if I do it the other way around, I'm putting on my juban skirt at the moment, like first before the actual padding. Put it on. And my padding belt will actually keep the knot that I made with the juban skirt in place. With the juban skirt, do make sure that the layer underneath does slightly touch the tops of your feet. Otherwise, half of your tabi will be visible when you put the hiki on. So now, just put on the top part. I've already put my irishin in before I turned on the camera. Just grabbing my cording belt here. And because we're putting the collar quite far back, any cording belt that you do want to put it on low. So let me show you. This isn't even considered low enough for me. There we go. And that's where the cording belt will end up sitting. Just to make sure that you pull everything down as far as you can so that it all sits tight on you. Make sure that you neaten up everything on the side as far as you can. So there we go. That's fairly far down. So put everything a little bit close to me. Just putting on my koshihimo so that the colors stay where they are. Excuse me if you can hear noises from outside. It's actually quite warm, so I had to put on, let the door a little bit open on my balcony. Okay. Then that's a chimney. A good tuck so that everything is sitting tight. Oh, just my skirt got loose. That happens sometimes. I need to tuck down my tank top. 'Cause, yeah, you can kind of see it. It does peep out a little bit. Because the tank top that I usually use with spaghetti straps, that actually one got damaged. So basically it just got a hole in it and I need to get a replacement. But oh well, moving on with the video. Now I'm going to put on the actual hiki itself. Now this one does come with a folded collar, which makes it really easy. If yours doesn't have this, have someone or go check on the mirror if the colors do line up in the back. Because speaking from experience, it doesn't always end up that way, and I've had to put on my juban and the hiki on at the same time to make sure that the colors were aligned. Given it's kind of hard, you know, I'm fairly flexible, but it's kind of hard to reach here all the time to make sure that everything sits correctly. So now I'm just going to put it on. Let's see, that burns. There we go, much better. Just need to put the chair a bit further. So when it comes to the skirt of the actual hiki, I've done a video about it. I think it was in 2015 or 2016. It explained in great detail on how to get a nice hikizuri hem. So if you look that up, it's actually one of my most watched videos, so I don't think you'll have any issues looking it up. But for this video I'll be skipping that part and I'll be going on with the rest of the tutorial. Just doing it quickly just now. you just saw me tying a bow this koshihimo. Generally it's kind of well, I wouldn't say I fall apart, but I noticed that it holds itself up much more if I do it than if I choose another kind of knot. And since we're going to be covering it up, it won't be as noticeable given there's no shorty basically. So just letting you that know, just in case you were wondering why I was tying my koshihimo in a bow. Speaking of covering it up, got my dazijime here. What I tend to do is just pull both layers up so that there's no fabric, and then just tying as I would normally. Let's do first, and then we'll get a little bit closer so you can see. I love this camera. I can actually just see myself, so I want to know what I'm doing. It's always just pulling the fabric up and then making kind of a triangle inside. It's kind of hard to show you because there's not a lot of fabric here. And then just pulling it over. Now, the key to Hikizuri Kitsuke staying in place is actually to stand still as much as you can. I noticed that when I move around a lot, like grabbing things from my wardrobe, that especially the skirt tends to shift and it doesn't stay as nice as it would otherwise. So just pulling fabric down. And then just smoothing out the sides. So that's the first part of the collar. Just tying it off again with a dazijime, just making sure that it all stays in place. I found the combination of both the himo and the dazijime to work really well, especially with the more heavy Hikizuri that I have, because 2 of them out of 6 in total, I think, are actually 3 kilos each. This one doesn't weigh as much, I think about half of it, or just about, so it's not that as heavy. It's actually, the sleeves are unlined, so it's really lightweight. This one stays in shape much better. So then I'm going to add the momi. Just by starting one layer, and what I do is just I tuck it in. And then I simply start to wrap it around my whole torso. Just make sure that it overlaps a little bit each time. and how far you actually want to wrap it in terms of width. I usually go from my hips to just underneath my bust. I just tuck it in. Just a little secret to not having it slip up is just tucking it under the tatejime all the way around. If you can manage that. It's a little bit of a fiddly task, but it helps to, at least for me, that the movie stays in place throughout the time that I'm actually wearing my hiki. And usually it does stay up on the top, but I'll leave that up to you. I'm going to add my first obita. Again, it's really a personal decision whether you want to use one or two. I prefer two, but you do you, so to speak. So now it's time for the obi. We got here just a simple and standard Kenjogara obi that I put it on. I put it on straight like this, so I tie it in the back. But before I was able to do that, I just tie it in front and it will be just fine. Again, same thing, you do you, as long as the knots ends up in the back, you'll be fine. So there, I'll be using my trusty obi clip as usual. If you don't have one, you can always use like a koshihimo or whatever. This one portion I've noticed with Hikizuri Kitsuke is that the obi is almost crisscrossed in a way. If you want to do that, that's up to you. I prefer to do that. Looks a little bit more stylish in my opinion. Now I'll be adding the second obi-ita. Collar still staying in place. Yeah. So this obi for me is long enough to make a double layered otaiko. Not all fukuro will be long enough, because this kind of takes up a lot of fabric, more than regular kitsuke would somehow, some way. So just quickly do that. I do have a full tutorial on it. Okay, and now I'm going to be really sneaky. Kind of a trick. I don't tend to do this with normal kitsuke, but with hiki. Just tuck it behind there. Ta-da! One in there. Yeah. If you have some clip to avoid the tesaki just from falling, it'll be really handy. Adding my putting this one back. Adding my obijime as usual. And lastly, just going to quickly tie the obiag. I'll just tuck that in. Okay, so about that, my camera battery just died on me. This tutorial has been taking forever to film. So I just tucked in my obi, I just rearranged my obi a little bit, my obijime. But other than that, I'm pretty much done. Oh yeah, the, the kimono has a crazy ass wingspan. That looks okay. So yeah, there we go. That's pretty much how you put on a Hikizuri or Kitsuke kimono.